The 675th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to get up to a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL season with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Heidi ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to episode 675 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to all my Canadians. Happy Thanksgiving, the proper time for Thanksgiving. A good 2.5 months before you have to see all the same people and eat all the same food again at Christmas time. So it's perfect. Works out well. And not to be outdone, the Americans have something called Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day. So always have to copy us. So happy everything to everyone. And if you're in non-North American countries, happy Monday, I guess, to you. I am one of your hosts, Taco Fox, aka the hilarious Taco Fox. And we've got an LFA event for you. You people love LFA. We love LFA. We're bringing you LFA. LFA 194 to be exact. It's going down on Friday. Don't fret not. PFL will be coming down the pipe as well tomorrow. So we got that covered. And maybe we'll sprinkle KSW in somewhere. Who's to say? We don't have time for a full episode, but people want KSW too. So who's to say? Online, you can always bug my co-host, and he will give you KSW picks more than likely. That would be Daniel Gumby-Vreeland. He beat me again this weekend in the UFC. He went 9-3. I went 8-4. So it was a good weekend for both of us in terms of overall picks. We both hit our locks. I hit my Temerov knockout prop at almost plus 300. It was plus 290. So pretty good for that. And I believe Gumby had a good showing as well in real life with the picks. So yeah, very good. Maybe he can, maybe we want to recap that. Maybe we want to talk regional. Who's to say? Let's bring the man in and we'll find out. Daniel Gumby-Vreeland.
I just want to give a special shout out to my main guy, or main gal rather, Mallory Martin. Mallory Martin should have gotten the dedication of this episode. Jeff usually asks me who gets the dedication. This time, no ask, no assist, no whatsoever. No, he decided Canadian Thanksgiving is worth more than plus 400 underdog cashing for us. So, that's the type of loyalty I have here. But Mallory Martin, 50-45 Katharina Delizda in Octagon's, I want to say main event, but it was the main event of the prelims.
The prelims, yes.
In the weirdest way. But shout out to her for making all the improvements I thought she would. Her wrestling looked great. Her boxing looked even better. Good weekend on the regionals. And then, yeah, you're right. The props were, flowing in the best possible way on UFC Vegas 98. So altogether, fantastic week. And looking forward to this one. I know, we got the comments in the YouTube saying that we needed more KSW. And we decided to go LFA and PFL because they're a little easier for us to do. And also, a little bit more popular with our viewers. But I hate promising things. I'm going to promise that I'm going to try. How about that? I'm going to promise that I'm going to try to put up some KSW picks in short form in one of our, maybe our YouTube shorts. So keep an eye on the YouTube shorts. Make sure you hit subscribe and maybe you'll get some bonus picks in there. Yeah,
I was going to suggest that. So obviously like mine, brilliant minds think alike here. So that's good. Good idea. And I can even help, but you probably don't want me involved in that because that will drive viewership down. So we'll just let me do that. I didn't see the Mallory Martin fight, so maybe that wasn't top of my mind. I was dipping in. It was a busy day. I was dipping in and out. I was dipping in. Octagon looked very good. It was quite the change going from 59,000 people to UFC Apex, where there's family and friends, a few family and friends in the crowd. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Well, which promotion is the biggest in the world? It's hard to tell. Plus, Octagon did that. That wasn't even their home turf. That was in Germany.
Yeah. 6,000 I think they sold better because it was Germany, to be honest with you. Not that they wouldn't in their home turf, but you remember when the UFC used to go on the road once upon a time, it was way easier for them to sell out Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, than it was for them to sell out Madison Square Garden or one of the big Vegas stadiums. And it wasn't necessarily even because Norfolk, Virginia, I'm sure had a smaller stadium, but it was when are they going to come to Norfolk again? So everybody who likes the UFC anywhere close, jumped on that train.
Yep. And, good promotion, good fights, good presentation, everything. So check out Octagon if you have not already. Also, thank you for checking us out, of course. And we're asking a favor. Head to Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. That will help us and help you help us prevent corporate gambling from taking over. So 5 stars on Spotify if you have not already. And thank you in advance for that. All right, LFA. Like we said, it was basically 3 big cards for us to pick between this week. LFA, PFL. And
had to do PFL with Ngannou coming back.
Yeah, and KSW. And this is pretty much it's what the numbers in terms of people tuning into us. And this is a pretty, I assume it's a pretty solid LFA fight card up in my neck of the woods as well.
Not bad. I will say they tend to be a little lighter on the Niagara Falls ones.
Yeah.
And that's coming from somebody who's gone to multiple Niagara Falls ones. They're not bad cards, but they lack a little bit of the 1 or 2 big household names that LFA has. Like a lot of other cards, they hit you with somebody big. And this one, I mean, I guess Shamidkhan, Magomedov is coming from being on the Ultimate Fighter. So I guess that's a big enough name.
Yeah. No Canadians too, surprisingly. Right at the border there. I know they had what's her name?
Shannon Clark. She needs a break for a bit.
Barbie. Yeah, she definitely does. Yeah. She had some issues in her last fight. All right, let's jump into LFA 194. Are you going to this one or not?
I'm not. No, it is my wife's birthday is this weekend, and convincing her to go watch fights 7 hours away harder to do than you might imagine.
That's what you did. That's what you did for your anniversary.
Okay.
This is the spot too, was it not?
Maybe.
It's just the spot. So there you go. It work out perfect. LFA 194 Magomedov versus Leyva. It's Niagara Falls, New York. Friday night. Seneca Niagara Resort and Casino. 9 p.m. Eastern start time on UFC Fight Pass. We got 14 fights. We're going to go dive in deep on 5 of them. And then Gubby will give you some bonus plays at the end. So make sure you stick around to the very, very end. And you'll get all of the plays you're looking for. And if you still want more, because there's people out there who still want more, you're the true degens. Obviously, you can hit us up on our YouTube channel or in our Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Us, I mean Gumby. I could give you picks too, but it would be basically Tapology, capping picks. You don't need that. Let's go with welterweight fight to start things off. Uelliton, Silva from Brazil, Josiah, Harrell from the United States of America. As I said, welterweight, 3 5-minute rounds. No odds yet. They have not dropped yet. We're ahead of the books as per usual, but that can be advantageous. A lot of people I see in the comments are getting good lines because they hear what Gumby thinks the line will be, and then when the lines actually drop, they're nowhere close to it, and they steam that line. So this is a good thing. Muscle Hamster is Mr. Harrell. I think we talked about him before because I remember the nickname. Have we not?
A couple of times. Yeah.
Yep. He is 7-0, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions. So he's finished everyone. He owes his rounds. 1-0 in LFA. He's not fought since last June, meaning June 2023. So he's been out of action for quite a while. Regional champion. Used to fight at lightweight, 7 years younger than Silva. Silva is 6-2, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions. He has finished everyone as well. He's been knocked out once. He owes his rounds additionally. So this is going 15 minutes. He's lost 2 straight. After winning his first 6 of his career, he got TKO'd in his last fight. That was back in December 2019. So he is on an even longer layoff. He's not won since November 2017. This is his LFA debut. 2013 Pro MMA debut. Used to fight at lightweight as well. 2 inches taller than Harrell.
So I was originally hesitant on looking at Harrell up at welterweight because, he's a big guy. He's a really strong guy, but like a long layoff and like getting acclimated to a new weight class. Originally, I was like, I don't know so much. But the thing about Harrell is he's a great wrestler in a lot of different ways. He's got a really nice double leg. As a matter of fact, if you watch his lone LFA fight, he double legs a guy through the door of the cage. And instead of canceling the fight, they just get him back in there and start it up again, which is certainly a move. But he winds up winning that fight too. But he's also got like really good upper body lock trip takedowns and stuff like that. So like he's got a lot of different ways to take people down. And I think what the LFA did here was they decided if we're going to get him acclimated to welterweight and see if he's a threat at welterweight, we might as well give him a guy on a 6-year layoff who hasn't won in 7 years, and no offense to Uelliton Silva here, but like he just doesn't defend a takedown well. Basically, they cherry picked this matchup for Harrell to just be able to walk into welterweight, get his feet wet, make sure that he's, after 15, 16 months away, he's, back to fighting the way he should and, ready for the size of the people in this division. I think he's going to steamroll him with 100 takedowns, probably get the ground and pound finish in the first. My guess on the line here, Harrell like negative 750, and that'll probably be the open. And by the time you see it like fight time, if you try to bet this fight time, I bet you get 4 digits. So yeah, I'm going to go with Josiah Harrell.
Is he good? Is he
I
that
think
good?
so. I think so.
UFC caliber at some point?
I thought so when he was a lightweight. I liked him better at lightweight. Yeah. Obviously, when you're a guy who makes your living off of being like a tough wrestler, and granted, he's got like a mixed bag of game, which is really important. You're not like a one-dimensional wrestler. But moving up in weight class, that's always like gives me a little bit of hesitation, right? Yep. Because if you're a bully, you'd rather be in the smaller weight class. If he was a rangy striker, I'd say like, yeah, go up in weight class. That's fine. You're going to be faster again, tenfold. But is he going to be stronger? I'm not necessarily sure. And so I still think he's a good prospect and he's a fun prospect. I just need to see more of what he looks like at welterweight.
Yep. Makes sense. All right. Let's go to a women's strawweight bout. GiGi Canuto versus Ershirley Kessy, both from Brazil. 3 5-minute rounds. Silva will tell you about. No, sorry. Kessy will tell you about first. We just told you about Silva. Kessy's 3-0. 1 knockout, 1 submission. This is her LFA debut. 4 inches taller than Canuto. So not much on her. I'm sure Gumby has seen all 3 fights, though. Canuto Diamond is the nickname. 4-1 with 3 submissions. Never been finishing a fight. All those fights have taken place in LFA, so she is much easier to scout. Lost her last fight. 7 years younger than Kessy. 1-0 as a pro grappler. And who did she beat in that pro grappling fight? Denise Gomes, a name you may know from the UFC. So that is all I got for these ladies.
Yeah, and Kessy does a lot of IBJJF like grappling tournaments. Yeah. She's big in the gi. So this is a fun grappling match when you look at it. This one's hard for me to line because GiGi lost to what's her face, Uelliton, right, in her last fight, I believe for the title. I want to say for the title. So we got one who's 4-0, loses for the title, now 4-1, up against another fun prospect at 3-0. I want to say Canuto is definitely going to be the favorite because she was fighting for the title. She's also she's 21. She started fighting when she was 19 and she was damn good right away. My guess is in the negative 175 range for Canuto. And for me, I'm jumping all over that number if it comes in south of $2 because, first of all, Canuto is a way better grappler. She's very quick when she ducks under for the takedowns. If she's on top of you, you are in all kinds of trouble. She's got submissions from everywhere too. Like even if you're on top, you're in trouble. Like you don't want to be on the ground with this woman. And then on top of that, Kessy, I think prefers to grapple because she like I said, she comes from a gi grappling background. But all of her takedowns are much more obvious and very one-dimensional. She wants to put you up against the cage, get underneath the hips, lock the hands, pick you up, put you right back down where you are with your head kind of against the cage. And while that, that works, she's 3-0 for a reason. The problem with that on the long term is you fight somebody who can counter that grappling like Canuto. You're probably prone to, getting guillotine choke there and stuff like that. And then also in addition to that, how many times that's going to work without her just scrambling right back to her feet and now you're tired? Yeah. And with all of that being said, I also want to add in the reason I would love this at negative 175 is I think Canuto's a better striker too. Kessy's got some finishes, but if you watch, all of her strikes are very wide and sort of predictable. Canuto, her hands are coming along very nicely. She's sort of started to develop this quick 1-2 as she blitzes forward. And then when the opponent backs up, then it's perfectly set up for her takedown. She's learning ways to set her opponents up with her hands to then get the takedown. So I'm a huge fan of Canuto. I think that fight with Uelliton was a real tough one for her. It was Uelliton, right? I'm not just pulling. I'm going to make you look it up. Yeah, I'm going to make you look it up.
No, the intern will look it up.
Put the intern on it.
We haven't done that for a while. Yes, you're correct.
It was Uelliton. Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't Bruno LN or something like that, who also would fight the same exact style of fight. But yeah, so I like Canuto quite a bit. I think she's super fast. At 21, she seems to be learning leaps and bounds every time she fights. And I think every advantage is there for her against Kessy. So if we can get a low enough number, I'm in there on Canuto.
Another possible future UFC fighter?
Yes, definitely. if she wins, let's say she wins 2 or 3 in the next calendar year, you'll see her in Contender Series next year, because also she's like 21. You know, she's got the look that Dana White is looking for in like a young Brazilian fight. Like, you know, she's the type of guy or type of gal that Dana White's getting after.
Could be a knit girl, perhaps. We'll have to wait and see.
But she's got good sub skills, though.
It's good. The last knit girl didn't really pan out yet for her. All right, Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. Underdog Pick'em is one of the biggest menus for all of sports: NFL, college football, MLB, MMA. Hooray! WNBA, NASCAR, and more. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boosts. You can now use special boosts in all flex entries. I'm going to flex a bit here, Gumby. My Underdog Fantasy ballot for UFC Vegas 98 hit. People tailed it. It hit for them as well. All 3 of my plays came through. Gumby came close, but no cigar. So Underdog, way to go. Do you have any plays that are going to win now for these people?
Sure. Yeah. You know, the cool thing about Underdog right now is they are hitting Contender Series late in the season. So
nice.
If you want to head on over there, they've got, let's see, which one do I like best here? I'm going to say Jonathan McAuliffe, even though I picked him to win on our Contender Series episode, which, by the way, go back and listen. I'm going to take the lower than on his significant strikes. They're listed at 48.5. And I think with as many takedowns as he lands, he's probably, even if he's in a good position, they're not going to count those as significant. So let's take the lower than on Jonathan McAuliffe's significant strikes.
There you go. And yes, there's still time for you to get on the Contender Series. Last week goes down tomorrow. So if you haven't listened already, go back and check out that episode or watch it. And make sure you sign up with our code at Underdog. Our code would be MMA SGPN, as it says on your screen if you're watching on YouTube. If you do that, you can claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code MMA SGPN. Get in there now, because we will be giving you more winning plays for the UFC coming up, right?
Yeah, we should.
I will, at least. Hopefully you can keep up with me this week, Gumby.
I mean, I hit 2 out of 3. And if that decision had gone my way for Tyra, it would have been 3 of 3 as well.
Yeah. And Gumby's prop of the week, 15 seconds away from hitting for.
Yeah, we're razor close. But we did get we don't need this graphic anymore. We did get Sabatini by sub. Which was a big old plus 500. We did get Clayton Carpenter by sub, also plus 500. So, you know, gems on that end.
There you go. Fantastic. All right, let's go to a featherweight bout. Erick Viscondi from Brazil. Lots of Brazilians in this card for a they have Brazilian cards all the time, but even this card's got a lot of Brazilians in it. LFA's really gone full bore into Brazil. They got a lot of Brazilian fighters. This gentleman, he's fighting not from Brazil. What's his name? It's so long. His first name is so long that Tapology can't even put it on.
Busurmankul.
Abdibait Uulu. He's another Uulu. Ulu's king. Is that what we decided that translates?
No, it's like it's like the younger version. It's like son of. It means it's like adding OV to the end of a Russian name. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody from
if we have any Ulus out there, hit us up. Yes, he is from Kyrgyzstan. Respect for your flag, Kyrgyzstan. Nice flag. I like the colors. Anyhow, let's go with Mr. Uulu first, aka Abdibait. Alay is his nickname. Alay, not Allay, not the word we know in English. Alay, maybe 15-4-1, 8 knockouts, 3 submissions, never been finished in a fight. Very durable guy. 20 fights, never been finished. This is his LFA debut. 7-1 over his last 8. Won his last fight via TKO. That was back in May of 2023, so he's been out of action for almost a year and a half. Has not lost since August 2022. Regional champion, used to fight at bantamweight and up at lightweight. Visconti Sabugo, its nickname. I think it means corn. At least the translation means corn. Can you verify?
I can't confirm or deny that.
we'll say it's corn. He's got a corny nickname, let me tell you. As corny as my jokes. He's 13-3, 4 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's been submitted once. These guys owe us some finish. Yeah, they always finishes, I guess. One of them needs to be finished, is what I'm trying to say. 0-1 at LFA, 6-1 over his last 7. Got subbed in his last fight, though. He's got multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. I said Marect. That's not a word. Correct. Get the shirt, not this plain gray shirt, but one of our lovely shirts at sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. I just saw we have some kind of sale going on. Let me check. I'm going to check the message from the boss. 15% off everything in our store. Store.sportsgamblingpockets.com. Promo code Monday. So get in there. 15% off everything on Monday. So there you go. All right, Mr. Korn. What else can I tell you? Fought down at bantamweight, 3 years younger than Abdibait.
So I think the line here is going to be really wide, both because of Viscondi's most recent loss, which is by submission, and Abdibait's recent record. You know, he also is a guy who, I don't know if it was for a title, but he fought for Eagle FC, right? Which pretty legit promotion. You know, he's got the name that makes people scared, as typically the books get. I mean that from a book standpoint, right?
Yeah.
The books get scared when they see names like that. I think he's gonna be like negative 500. I think this is gonna be a really wide line. I'm going to pick Abdibait, but I'm going to tell you, do not bet that line if it comes in that wide. Viscondi, in that case, would be a very live dog. You know, like I would line this fight at like maybe negative 200 for Abdibait.
Abdibait.
I would line it at like negative 200 for him, and that would be where I would be like comfortable putting him in parlays. And I think it's going to be way out of proportion from there, just based on like all of the other factors. But if you watch Viscondi fight, Viscondi has got a mean double leg takedown. He blasts through, even in his last fight, the one that he lost by guillotine. He took the guy down in the first 2 seconds of the fight. He spent the entire fight on top. Just one time, he weirdly stuck his head into the guy's armpit and he choked him. Like, that guy didn't even get back up to hit the guillotine. He was down on the ground for like 3 straight minutes. So, like, Viscondi's got good top control. Submission defense maybe has some, areas he needs to work on, but the takedown game is nice. The difference for me is I just think Abdibait is just so dynamic on the feet. The way he moves in and out of range, I think it's going to make it harder for Viscondi to hit those takedowns. Viscondi is going to be a far inferior striker in this case. I think Abdibait is, faster, does different things. He really likes the spinning stuff. You got to give him some props for that. He likes the spinning stuff, but also he just like comes from awkward angles to the point where you like can't really trust, what you're doing there. If you're doing like, the more basic stuff, which I think is Viscondi on the feet. So again, I'm going to pick Abdibait because I'm trying to pick winners here. But if this number comes in where I think it is, negative 500, either stay off it or, Viscondi legitimately probably worth a dog play if he comes in the like 400 or 500 range. So that's my read on this one. I'll take Abdibait in terms of trying to find a winner.
Okay. That's what we do. We find winners here. So, all right, let's go to our co-main event already. Mirafzal Akhtamov. Mirafzal Akhtamov, UAE, United Arab Emirates, versus Scottie Stockman. There is an American name. If I ever heard one, he should drive race cars. Maybe he does in his spare time. This is a co-main event, 157 pounds, it says on Tapology. Is that right? Is it really a lightweight fight? Do you have any idea?
I wrote 157-pound catch weight on the bottom. I don't know. Maybe somebody's worried that they're going to come in a little heavier. And so
2 pounds overweight, 3 pounds.
157 catch.
I don't think it's going to change our handicapping of the fight at all, but let's see.
Won't.
Scottie Stockman, 10-4 with 9 knockouts. He's been submitted 3 times. Short notice LFA debut. He's lost 2 straight. Before that, he won 7 straight. Both of his past 2 losses have come via submission. 0-1 in PFL. Multiple region championships on his.
Man.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Remember, Monday is your code. 15% off. It's not just our stuff. You got like my hat I'm wearing. You got stuff for every show. Check it all out. He's fought a lot of weight classes. He's fought 157, obviously. He's going to at least featherweight, lightweight, middleweight. 2-0 in boxing, 3 inches of reach over Akhtamov. Mirko is the nickname. Easier than his Mirafzal to say, I guess. 6-0-1, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions, 1-0 in the UFC. Wait a minute, UFC? No, he wishes. 1-0 in LFA. He won 4 straight fights, 2 straight via TKO. He's fought at welterweight, 1-0 in pro karate, 1-0 as a pro kickboxer. Over to you.
I'm going to pick Akhtamov here. I think he's probably going to be a big favorite too. I know I've only given you favorites so far on this one. Hey. Negative 300 on Akhtamov is my guess. Scottie Stockman, weird dude to handicap because I had to go back and watch his fights because I'm like, I know I've heard of this guy, but I can't remember anything. He both really weirdly wants to be like out of striking range, and then he does these like blitzes in and then runs right back out. Like he's not even in striking range for most of the fight. He fights from like this weird different zip code kind of fight. And then he rushes in, and half the time it's to like blitz and strike you. But then another chunk of the time, he does these like weird trips at the end of his combinations where it looks like he wants to take you down, but all it's ever done, in my opinion, is get him in a whole bunch of scrambles. And he's not particularly good in the scramble either. Like you said, he's lost 2 in a row, both by submission, right? Yeah. Like, so if you're a guy who's like weirdly creating scrambles by not doing fundamental takedowns, like, why are we still doing this? And now it's happened twice in a row. Maybe that means he'll stop, but like at the end of the day, I don't think his blitzing in is like a good strategy against Akhtamov anyway. Because first of all, Akhtamov has an absolute missile for a right hand. If he's fighting somebody he thinks he can outstrike, he just walks you down. He feints a whole bunch of times just until he can launch that right hand, and then he sleeps you. Like that's what he did with his last opponent. Now, granted, his last opponent was like 4-4 or something like that, so he had a lot of confidence that he could do that. But if you go back when he fights higher level of competition and he's, worried that he can't just walk you down and snipe you out, like he does go to his wrestling, and his wrestling is actually pretty good. It's a lot more technical in terms of what he does than Stockman, so it's like a little bit more predictable. But also that gives me hope that he can probably scramble and come out on top if Stockman does do that weird thing again. So I think Akhtamov is the play here. My guess is in the negative 300 realm. Wouldn't hate him in like a parlay if he comes in to like, like him and GiGi Canuto. If you put those numbers together and get anywhere near even money, that'd be a good way to like, church up the number on Canuto a little bit.
Is he another future UFC type guy or not?
I don't know. I will say I like the fight IQ that like he goes into fights where he knows he can outstrike somebody and doesn't go to his grappling immediately. That he's like clearly trying to round out his game, which is nice. I just like want to know what his wrestling looks like against the guy who's good at wrestling. I want to know what his striking's like against the guy who's good at striking. Mm-hmm. And I think at this stage in his career, he's done a really good job of wrestling strikers and striking wrestlers, or just like striking like guys who are not even close to being on his level. So like, I'd be interested to see what he does with somebody. I mean, like Stockman is actually a pretty decent step forward from his last fight. So like, this will tell us a lot. But I'd like to see like one more step forward, maybe at 155 pounds instead.
All right, cool. How about Abdibait? I didn't ask about Abdibait. I may as well make it a full ride. Do you like?
He's
Abdibait
been fighting for a really long time. I'm not sure. Like I don't know that he'll get there, but mostly just because what is he like? You say he's like 15 and something already.
Yeah, he's fought 20 times, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been fighting since 2015. I think like he's like a 10-year veteran at this point. Yeah. Like he's more of a candidate that you'd see him pop up on like a PFL Europe season or maybe UAE Warriors and get in on him or something like that.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, before we get to main event, Rhythm, SGPN's power partner, Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and give predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me. And Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop. It also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. Check it all out and claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RTHMM. And we're brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business, BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. U.S. players are always welcome. Sign up and deposit $100, and you have a chance to win a 1960 Ford Mustang. Check out all their UFC MMA lines there and use our link to sign up and get 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN. So they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. Okay. Time for the main event, and it is for a belt, I think. Yes, an interim belt, though, of course. The LFA Interim Welterweight Championship. I looked up why it's interim. It's a guy who just got beat up, last week, right?
I actually didn't know. I'm really glad you knew.
Oh, yes.
I was like, who got beat up Contender Series?
Who got beat up in Contender Series last week? It was LF. He's an LFA champion, welterweight. He got, I got to look it up again now. I forgot his name already because he lost. Danilo Antunes is the champ.
Yeah, he got beat up by Dolotov.
Yep. So this one is interim for now. Then they'll do since Antunes is not getting signed, they'll be doing a unification bout. Yep. All right, Shamidkhan Magomedov from Russia versus Alfonso Leyva, not from Russia. He is from Mexico. This is 5 5-minute rounds, and it is for the interim 170-pound LFA title. I'll tell you about Leyva first. Sniper, 7-1 with 7 knockouts. Yep, that's the sniper for you. He's been knocked out once, so he owes his rounds. 2-1 in LFA. TKO win in his last fight. Used to fight at middleweight and light heavyweight, 2 inches reach over Magomedov. Magomedov, 8-1, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions, never been finished in a fight. 3-0 in LFA. He's the current interim champ, so he's defending his interim championship here. Just like Tom Aspinall. He's 5-0. TKO win in his last fight. Over his last 5, obviously. 0-1 on the Ultimate Fighter. Has not lost a fight since May of 2021. An official fight he did lose on Tough. His very last fight actually was on the Ultimate Fighter this past season. Used to fight at middleweight. 1-0 in pro grappling, a year younger than Leyva.
It's funny to say never been finished when
he was.
He was on Tough.
Yeah.
And so first of all, I think Magomedov is going to be a big favorite here.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, former interim champion before. He beat Rashad Evans's nephew in that the fight to get that belt, which is a pretty big feather in his cap. He also was on the Ultimate Fighter. You know, all of those types of things usually make you a fair-sized favorite. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say like negative 225 and like plus 200 on Leyva. And I'm going to take Leyva in this one. I see. I've never really been sure about Shamidkhan Magomedov. I think my problem is like, first of all, I think his striking is so far behind his grappling that it sort of renders his offense one-dimensional. Like, you don't have to worry about getting hit with the hands. You could just stuff the takedowns. And Leyva did an all right job of stuffing the takedowns on Sarek Shields in his last fight. And I actually rate Sarek Shields' wrestling maybe a touch better than Magomedov's. If you watch Magomedov on The Ultimate Fighter, he had one really big glaring problem, and that's when he didn't get the takedown on the first try. He got hit a ton in the clinch, and it wound up probably costing him the fight. Like, I know it went down as it was a submission, right, from Omran Chaban.
Sounds right.
Yeah, and he wound up getting the submission, but it all started with him taking elbows to the side of the head and getting woozy. And for me, the fact that, like, you know, he can get hit in that way and has trouble in the clinch when he is failing is a nightmare for Leyva, because Leyva loves to stuff a takedown and then put you in like a collar tie and hit you with some mean uppercuts. And I think that that's game against Magomedov. I also think Magomedov will tire a lot in this fight. And Leyva has weird amounts of knockout power at every point of the fight. Like in his last fight, I thought Sarek Shields was like wearing him down. And then you could see Sarek start to melt a little bit. And Leyva throws this flying knee out of nowhere and just absolutely puts him out. So like, this dude's got crazy power with his hands. He's got crazy power with his legs. He's really good in the clinch. I think he might give up takedowns in this fight. And that might be like, you might get scared during those. But at the end of the day, I don't think Magomedov has got any ability to put him away. And that gives Leyva 25 minutes to put him away. And that's just too much for me, especially if you can find plus money on it.
Don't be scared. Have faith in Gumby. You don't have to be worried, even if it gets taken down. All right. Recap. We'll get you some bonus picks. Leyva, Akhtamov, Abdibait, Uulu, Canuto, and Harrell, the muscle hamster. All right. Lightning round. Zap, bang, boom, power. Gumby. You have 9 other fights to choose from. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to give you 3 in this one. The first one I like is Lance Lawrence. He's coming off a win over Landry Ward, who is a guy who I previously thought was going to be a Contender Series guy. He's looked kind of rough in his last couple of fights, but Lance Lawrence picked up a win over him in his last fight, and that, for me, already a little bit of a feather in his cap. He's going to be fighting Jacob Bond, who is kind of a guy who travels around all of the regional circuits and fills in and gets beat up places. I think he's 14-12. So, like, you know, kind of a guy, he just got beat up by Joe Giannetti as like a replacement fight for Cage Titans. So like, that's the type of guy who's it's set up for a good fight. I think that's probably a parlay builder for you. Another one who I think is probably good to squeeze in some parlays. Austin Vanderford is fighting on this card on the prelims. Kind of surprising to see him fighting on the prelims because he's kind of a big name, being fought in Bellator a bunch of times and, you know, being Mr. Van Zant and all that. But like, you know, I think he's got a favorable matchup in this one. And then the last one I'm going to give you is Saulo Cavalieri. Saulo Cavalieri probably going to come in as a dog here. I think he's only 1-1 in his pro career, but he has like 1 billion boxing and kickboxing matches. And he's up against a regional fighter who I fade as much as I can. His name's Matt Adams. I think he's pulled out of like 7 different fights that I've used in the lightning round before. or had the fight canceled, or like some of them aren't even listed as canceled on Tapology, but I know I've been like, fade Matt Adams. He keeps backing out of fights, and then he's like not in the fight anymore. So maybe he's a placeholder for LFA. I don't know. But if Matt Adams shows up to fight this Viscondi guy, I don't think he's got like the will to carry through 3 rounds of getting beat up by a kickboxer. So give me this, give me Salvo Cavallari, Austin Vanderford, and Lance Lawrence.
All right, there you go. You got lots of bonus picks. All right, we are done for today. I'm just updating the odds for PFL, and we'll get PFL episode into your ear holes tomorrow. In the meantime, we shall be in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. We shall be, of course, in the comments section of our YouTube channel, MMA Gambling Podcast. We shall be on Twitter X. That's SGPN MMA. Gumby runs that. He's Gumby Vreeland. I'm Jeff Fox Writer there and on Instagram. Get in my Substack. Enter my UFC Pick'em contest for this weekend. That would be moneymma.substack.com. Check out the Gumby's Top Turtle MMA podcast. Who is on it this week?
We're talking to Brady Heastand, who fights this weekend against Jake Hadley. And we're also talking to Bekzad Usmanov, who was on The Ultimate Fighter somewhat recently and will be main eventing next week's LFA.
All right, so check all of that out. And of course, we are at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Monday, use your code to get 15% off, and sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to get even more content, bonus content. We'll be back tomorrow. Mirko, Fox, Diamond, Vreeland, talk to you then.